Are we live? Okay. I was like, what? What's happening? There's like a bag right in front of me. Can you see that? Or is it out of the shot? Okay. Shiny? It's just a talking bag. I just duck behind it. You don't want me to be behind. Oh, you can be behind setting up. That's totally fine. Boom. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Boom boom. What's the good word? Hello and welcome to the OneRing.net. It's Torn Tuesday. I'm Chelsea. This is Cliff. And we're here to talk about all good and nerdy Tolkien things.
No basura.
At some point, we might have a chat room with comments in front of us. But if not, it's going to be very lonely and just me and Cliff talking to each other, which is fine. But I'm letting you know right now that if you are chatting with us, we can't see you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay. Things are happening.
No basura. Let's see here.
Pardon us while we gather our thoughts.
What have I got in my pocket? It's not fair, my precious, to ask what it's got in its nasty little pocketses. It's not fair. You're breaking the rules. Breaking the rules of the riddle game. Here is my tablet. And here also, deep within the confines, is my Captain Marvel poster.
Oh, Captain Marvel, yes.
There's my Captain Marvel poster.
Oh, wonderful.
Higher, further, faster.
An IMAX poster.
Yeah, I saw it in IMAX. And let me put this away. Hold on.
I'm showing it to the camera so they can see your Captain Marvel.
Also have this.
What is that? I only see the back of it.
Super important.
Ooh, the Atlas of Middle Earth. That is super important.
Let's trade.
We're going to trade.
Have you seen this one before?
I have not seen this. I need to move my phone before I drop the phone on the ground.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Ooh. I need like a week with this.
Months. Yeah, the Atlas of Middle Earth. Right here.
I really just want a giant map blown up on the wall of my living room that I could just follow along with.
Right here, right now on the OneRing.net, we are live, coming to you live via interwebs from the heart of Hollywood, here at Scum and Villainy Cantina.
These are all very true facts.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Clifford Broadway. Clifford the Big Red Dog. Usually they call me the Big Red Dog. That's how people remember me, Clifford. This is also...
I mean, you're lovable like a dog, but you're not red.
Not at all. This is Chelsea.
Hi.
Chelsea Schwartz, my extraordinary co-host. And right here off screen, say hi to everybody. It's Justin.
The voice of God.
Hi.
The very unexcited voice of God.
He's kind of like, did you ever see The Cat Returns?
No.
Which was directed by Miyazaki's protege at Studio Ghibli. You never saw The Cat Returns?
I did not see it, no.
Tim Curry is the voice
Ooh.
of the King of the Cats.
I like Tim Curry.
And the King of the Cats shows up on the scene looking like he's Mr. Billy Badass. And the only thing that comes out of his mouth is, hey, baby.
Okay, now I need to see this.
It is the funniest thing. You have to.
You've
got to see The Cat Returns. It is the spiritual sequel to Whisper of the Heart, one of Miyazaki's great screenplays that he never directed. He actually handed that off to someone else. Here's our live chat. Here's our Atlas of Middle-earth. Guys, we're going to be asking you to get involved with our live show. This is theonering.net. Welcome. Welcome, everybody, on theonering.net. We can see you on the live chat screens.
Oh, yes, the chat's up now. Yay.
We've got the Atlas of Middle-earth. We also have this extraordinary collected red letter edition of The Lord of the Rings.
It's quite beautiful.
Combining all three books.
It weighs more than I do.
The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. Here in this beautiful red letter edition. Did you see who signed?
I didn't look at it. I didn't want to destroy anything. It's signed by everybody I know.
Look. Everybody has signed this except Kate.
Special little notes from everybody, too.
Kate Blanchett.
It's not just signatures.
That's right. Kate Blanchett and Sir Christopher Lee are the only signatures I do not have in this book. Do you recognize any of them?
Yeah, John Rhys Davies.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Oh, Freya. Yeah.
From the very front here in the upper left, there's Sala Baker.
Yeah.
And then up to the right of that, that's Peter Sword King.
It's Andy Serkis right
who
there.
made the swords, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's Brad Dourif.
Oh, Billy. It's Pippin.
See there?
Yes, I do. You should
Brad
turn
Dourif.
and show it to the camera so people
they've
can
seen
see.
it a million times.
Okay, fine.
See? Yeah. There's Miranda Otto.
There might be new people watching.
Yeah, take a look. Here, I'll hand this. This will be a two-hand.
What? I need two microphones, apparently?
I need both hands to show you guys. I don't think we can zoom in too close on this, but
No.
here's all the signatures in my copy of The Lord of the Rings from Fran Walsh, Sinclair Lewis, excuse me.
To the
Billy
person in the
Boyd.
chat room that said, I wonder which chat they get to see. We actually have all of the chat rooms filtered into one place. So no matter what platform you are talking to us on, we can see all of them.
We get to see. I can see you guys for YouTube chat, Facebook, the
Twitch as well. We can see tweets, Twitter, Periscope.
Miranda Otto signed here. There's the producer, the Oscar-winning producer, Barry Osborne. There's Jim Rigel, visual effects producer, Dominic Monaghan, Billy Boyd, David Wenham, who plays Faramir, of course. And there's Fran Walsh, there's Orlando Bloom, there's Peter Jackson, there's Viggo Mortensen, Mark Odesky.
Hey, I smile in other places besides this live stream. Somebody's just commented, I never get to see Chelsea smile. I love
know,
this.
really. I didn't mean to mean Sinclair Lewis. Every time someone says the word Sinclair, I think of the American author Sinclair Lewis, but it's the New Zealand actor.
I think of the TV show Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, yeah, that too. There's Isildur, who was played by Harry Sinclair, New Zealand rocker, New Zealand actor, and of course he's a rock and roll star in my mind. I love Harry Sinclair. There's Howard Shore, and here's Sean Astin, Sir Ian McKellen, Carl Urban, Philippa Boyens, Elijah Wood, Andy Serkis. Which one is Andy?
Go back. He's right there where it says Golem. Right where it says Golem, right at the bottom.
Right there? Oh, there's Andy Serkis. Yeah.
Golem.
With all best wishes and lots of fishes, Andy Serkis. Isn't that amazing? And I've got Royd Tolkien in here. Richard Taylor. Yeah, the only people missing are, I would guess Kate Blanchett and Christopher Lee are the only people
Where's
missing.
Dominique?
Right here. Dominic Monaghan?
Dominic. Ah, yes. Be merry, of course.
That's it. Be merry. That's him. Okay, everybody. So, wow, yeah. Welcome to the show, everybody. Nice to see you, my friend.
Nice to see you as well.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you.
I like your T-shirt today. I approve.
Thank you. It is definitely Hobbit. You got the dragon T-shirt
Green
as
Dragon.
well.
Yes, exactly.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Torn Tuesday. You guys, this is the live show where we're going to talk all about this cool stuff. I'm intrigued by what's happening here in the chat room. What's happening? You guys want to talk live on the chat? You can. We encourage all of you. There should be a phone number floating over our heads. It is the Torn Hotline, 530-64-FRODO.
As in Frodo.
For Frodo.
Frodo Baggins.
That's right. It's all for Frodo. And on top of that, I was going to put out a huge Twitter thread.
Yes, where was this? You got me all like
It's
stalking
happening.
your Twitter,
It's
waiting
actually,
for this Twitter thread.
I was in the middle
nothing.
of typing it. It's still here.
You tease.
The draft. Well, I'll
Would
post it.
Would you like to finish typing it, and I'll just vamp for a little while?
No, it's gonna take a minute. You know what? We really should pull up that map of Amazon Prime. Okay, Amazon's Lord of the Rings online interactive map. It's all we've been talking about. But there's a reason why I want to bring this up today, because there's something I'd like to bring to the attention of all you happy folks out there. Let me open this up. Amazon, Lord of the Rings on Prime. There it is. Boom. Instant map. Welcome back to Middle Earth. How about that? Explore the map.
I hope everybody at home is also pulling up their map right now.
If you guys have a minute, join us in this exercise. Point your web browser to Amazon.com. What? Ooh.
I said classes in session.
I'm going to say, yeah, you know what? If you guys take your seats in time before I open up my textbook, then each of your houses will get 5 extra points today.
Yes.
5 extra points for each of your houses. The reason why 5? Because 5 is a magic number. And this is what I want to talk about. Everybody, welcome to the show. Of course, we're always talking about Middle Earth and the works of J.R.R. Tolkien, which are about to be, taken off on a crazy wild carpet ride by Amazon Studios, and they've been giving us all the clues and all the information in their online maps. And yet I noticed something very clever. Take a look at this. Point your web browser, my friends, to Amazon.com/ADLP/LOTR on Prime. That's a lot. That is a lot.
I'm just anxiously waiting for this information.
Look at this. When you're at Amazon.com/ADLP/LOTR on Prime, you're going to get the map. And the first one they sent us was blank, wasn't it? Beautiful blank map.
And it was a close-up.
It was a map of Middle Earth that had a mistake on the rose points compass, and it looked rather Third Age, but it was a blank map, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then they dropped how many more maps?
5. There's a total of 5.
Yeah, they dropped 4 more, and every time they dropped another map, when you guys go to this map, you look in the upper left-hand corner and you'll see the thumbnails were never taken away. They still exist. These 5 little maps make me think something I've never thought before. And here's what I want to talk about, guys. This whole map of Middle Earth thing is broken down into 5 parts. And everyone around here for months and months and months has been saying, oh, it's going to be young Aragorn. We're going to start, according to all the rumors that I personally started, all were leading us to believe that young Aragorn was going to be season 1. Well, guess what I thought?
Are you not thinking that anymore?
Well, it has been...
Because last week you were still sticking with your theory.
I was sticking with that theory, but I think I can be wrong and right at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, I was very much in the place of they might get to young Aragorn. This might be a very expansive series.
Right. They might even... You're right. And I think you're right, and I'm going to back you up on that. Okay. I think Chelsea is 100% right, but for 5 seasons... That's right, Black Sauce Noodles in the live chat.
Great username.
That is a great username. I love it, Black Sauce Noodles. Guess what? There are 5 maps on this online thing.
One map for each season? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, that's what we're trying to get at. Yes. I have just came to this light bulb moment where there was a light bulb floating over my head, and I thought, really?
Ding.
Really? And I thought, oh. I thought to myself,
Fan.
it's getting hot in here. It's getting hot in here, guys. You know what? There are 5 maps. What if these maps are, like I was saying, meant to be an online wiki for us to learn everything about the show before the show starts?
An online interactive wiki is what we were thinking
But then again,
that they could do.
Then again, they could not have underscored the point more clearly when they said, yeah, we saw that. We'll talk about that. They could not have underscored the point more clearly than when they said, welcome to the second age. So, maybe season 1 will not really start with young Aragorn, but season 1 will start in the second age. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to stay. Are we going to stay in the second age?
Also, the second age is a very expansive amount of time. Doesn't mean we're going to start the first year of the second age. We could start in the last 5 years of the second age and move into the third age.
Sure, we could. If they're gonna tease us with the Rings of Power as one of the opening stages of this story, then let the relationship between Celebrimbor and Anatar, the giver of gifts, which is secretly
the deceiver,
Sauron the Deceiver, secretly in disguise.
Secretly Loki.
Why don't they begin with that? That's fine. But you know what happens if they stay in the second age? If they do keep all 5 seasons just within the second age, that's not going to work because there will be no wizards. Riddle me this, Chelsea.
But there will be dragons.
There will be lots of dragons, but why would they pay $500 for a license and not have Gandalf and Saruman? Why would they do that?
Because Ian's expensive? It's true, Ian does really want to be in it.
Ian does want to be in it,
but look at Game of Thrones doesn't have wizards and they have dragons, and it worked really well for Game of Thrones.
It's true. Well, they have Grand Maesters, and they have a 3-eyed raven.
And a red woman.
And an evil red witch. An evil red vitch. So here's the thing. Here's what I'm getting at, guys. Everybody realizes now, because their Twitter thread and their Instagram thread said, welcome to the second age. And okay, so maybe the young Aragorn idea that I have been a proponent of for so long is just a delayed gratification. These other maps, all 5 of them, don't stay stuck in the second age. And if they're going to use the full capacity of this expensive license from the Tolkien estate, why wouldn't they move forward into the third age? These maps do, so don't be fooled. Since they're starting the series in the second age, and it seems to be most likely with a really impressive story about Numenor and the founding of Numenor and the creation of the rings, which are completely separate, by the time Sauron begins the war of the elves, Sauron and the elves, over those rings, by the time that happens and all these Numenorians show up to intervene in the war, that smells to me like a big climax to the end of season 1. A big war.
Absolutely.
Leading up to a big war. But I'm convinced now that we're not gonna, even if we start in the second age, we're not gonna stay in the second age for all 5 seasons. I'm gonna put forth that now these maps are going to take us through season by season by season, one for each year. And I think I'm kind of crazy stupid for not thinking of this earlier.
So you think
Why didn't I think of this earlier?
think the seasons are going to be broken down the way that like Harry Potter films are broken down by school years?
Yes.
I like it. It's
Yes.
a good theory.
Well, I had been a proponent of getting different narrators to do a flashback for every season being a different race. The race of elves get a year. The race
Or
of
maybe
dwarves
every season is basically told by a different race, like their take of what is happening.
Yep.
That could be fascinating.
I'd like that idea. But you know what? I don't know if that's going to happen yet. But I do know for sure that if I was wrong, I was only halfway wrong. They're not really going to start with young Aragorn. They'll start in the second age. But we will eventually get there. There are 5 maps. Not not to be confused with Dwarven Rings, but there are 5 seasons. I mean, wow. So
although we
that
could
kinda
just have 5 years of dwarvenness.
I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, I'm so excited about this, but the prospect is that we're going to get where we're going to get, and perhaps by the very end of the 5th season, we will be at the last alliance of elves and men fighting against Sauron and cutting his finger off. Is that where we're going to end at 5 seasons? No. I think we're going to go into the Third Age. That way we can get all the stuff about the hobbits being involved, the Battle of the Greenfields, the establishment and the decay and destruction of Arnor, and of course following the establishment of Gondor as well. Dudes, you know, Justin, I'm not sure this page loaded up again properly, but you know, let's give it a whirl. You guys, come and join us in the chat, please. We're going to be able to see your comments in just a second, as soon as Justin comes back and fixes this for us. And there's a hotline. Call us on the phone. 530-64-FRODO. So what do you think? I mean, why would you pay for a huge license for Tolkien Estate and not eventually include hobbits and wizards?
I mean, what if this is just the beginning of what they plan to do with...
Yeah.
There could be other series or spin-offs or a film.
Yes, it could.
Maybe they're thinking long-term. Maybe they're thinking Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Tolkien.
I like the way you think. I like the way you think.
Go big or go home. That's how I think. Yeah, Justin, we got nothing on this chat page. There's like an error message or something. We did.
Show is live. The show is live, and that's why these things happen live. Because, yes. We're going to refresh that page again, and it's not happening?
Yeah, nothing's happening.
Okay.
It just says, hooray, the chat is waiting for new messages. And I'm doubting that people aren't saying anything.
Okay, I'm going to do a hard refresh. All right. There's a hard refresh. By holding down the shift key, you get it to refresh.
Same thing.
Still the same thing. Sorry, Justin, not working. Anyways, you guys, we're going to get you able to, we will get it working so you'll be able to chat with us. In the meantime, you can send us any text messages or call in on 530-64-FRODO.
And in the meantime, even if we can't see your messages, thank you for watching and listening to me and Cliff randomly nerd out about things.
I love nerding out with you, Chelsea. I love nerding out all the time. Hey, the chat's working now. Yeah, we did that hard refresh. Hi, guys. I see you. There's, it's Joseph Allen, 1987. There's Joe Allen, Peter Reitzer. Hey, Peter Eravandi, Joe. Yeah, hi, everybody. Nice to see you guys.
Every time somebody says, welcome to the Second Age, they hear Radioactive from Imagine Dragons in their head. You are my new best friend.
That's right. Welcome to the new age, to the second age.
Yes. I should write the boys and be like, I smell a remix coming on.
I smell a parody video.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, if the Hillywood sisters are listening, hey, Hillywood Show, our really good friends at the Hillywood Show, maybe it's time to do another parody of Middle-earth. How about we do that? Let's parody Imagine Dragons and welcome to the second age. To the second age. Mic drop. Boom. All right, so much to discover and to explore, but keep in mind there are long, long stretches of time in the second age between events. For example, there's 100 years of time in between when the 3 rings were made for the elves and when Sauron secretly made the One Ring. I mean, it didn't happen a week later. It happened 100 years later.
Yes, took lots of time.
Now, this is another concept.
Rings of power don't just happen overnight.
How are they going to fill up the time, or how are they going to use these tricks in the writer's room to condense time? Because I'm looking at the back of the appendix. Look at this. The single best source, if you want to speculate with us, we love doing these kinds of fan speculations, but if you want to join us, get your copy of The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, and look at the appendix in the back. That is Appendix A. It is called Annals of the Kings and Rulers.
Also, I'm going to open the Facebook stream on my phone because we don't have the Facebook chat feeding through for some reason tonight. So if anyone's been chatting with us on Facebook, I apologize. I will be pulling it up in a second.
Look at this.
Here. Oh, yes, lots of people in the Facebook chat.
Sauron, alarmed by the growing power of the Númenóreans, chooses Mordor as a land to make into a stronghold. He begins the building of Barad-dûr. And that was in the year 1000 of the Second Age, okay? Sauron does not even get close to seducing the elves with his fake, low-key outfit coming in as Anatar. That doesn't happen until 200 years later. 200 years later, Gil-galad refuses to meet with Anatar, wants nothing to do with him. Gil-galad says, yo, take off, hoser, and Sauron doesn't get to implement his plan that way, but instead, Sauron is taken in under the wing of the smiths of Eregion. And that is the land right outside the west gate of Moria. And it was during this time when the elves and the dwarves had their most enriched, most fulfilling friendship. So, the elven smiths, okay? The elven smiths, instructed by Sauron, reach the height of their skill. When did that happen? 300 years later. He goes in and meets these people. Anatar goes in, makes himself known as, hi, I'm Loki. I'm a friendly face. You're going to like hanging around with me. I'm Anatar. I'm a good guy, and I can teach you how to make pretty jewelry.
Pretty.
And by the time that happens, it doesn't happen instantaneously. It's 300 years later.
Yes.
So
again, you don't just make a ring of power overnight.
Wow.
Like, you got to pour some deep planning into this stuff and get resources from the ends of the world. So the Facebook chat that we've been missing has some really great comments I'd like to read you.
Please.
But Cliff was deceived, for another season was made. Deep in the land of Amazon and the fires of corporate Hollywood, the dark lord of ratings forged a master season. And into this season, he poured his cruelty his malice, and his will to dominate all TV viewers.
That's whoever said that is very clever.
Yes.
That's very clever.
And also, everybody's wondering what the heck is in your Trader Joe's bag.
Oh, do you guys want to know what's in the Trader Joe's bag? Check this out. You know what's in this bag? All kinds of good stuff.
What's in the bag, Precious?
It's the Dark Crystal board game, the coolest board game that I've been enjoying. There it is. We're going to put this out here for everyone. So we're going to have some love for Jim Henson, the Dark Crystal, just for the heck of it, because it's the coolest thing ever in the universe. And if there's any question, come at me. You come at me if you have anything else to say about the Dark Crystal. You come for me. I will win. I will win that. We're going to do some love for Jim Henson, the Dark Crystal. Right here, it's the best new board game from last year. And that's what's in the Trader Joe's bag. Just for fun. Anyways, we also have this beautiful red letter edition of The Lord of the Rings. Hey, all right, Kristen, we'll see you when you come back. We'll see you when you come back. Here's my red letter book. And here is the Atlas of Middle-earth by Karen Wynne Fonstad. I hope I'm not blocking Chelsea. Chelsea, you're being partially blocked by books.
I disappeared altogether.
Well, usually I'm blocked by a map.
Exactly. So you're getting back at me for all the times we've been blocking you the last couple weeks.
No, I tell you what.
It's okay. Nobody needs to see my outfit.
Justin, do you think that the 5 maps, one of them being left blank, is because one is being left as a big surprise of where the setting will be? I get a feeling that they say, welcome to the Second Age, because the producers... Thank you. Okay, that's fine. Now I have to tuck down here? Is that how you're doing it? All right. All right, I can play.
Justin's being a little mischievous today.
I can play. We have our own mischief maker.
They said
Here.
they said you've created a fort for me, a hiding place.
A hiding place?
Yes, that's what you've created.
Oh, good, a secret fort.
Yes. Woohoo! I like forts.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody
Hi.
said, why don't you get involved with the live chat? We are as much as possible. I've
We
got
are.
Facebook open on my phone so
We
I
are.
can watch comments.
We are talking to you right now, good friends. We are talking to you right now. What if the show does some Black Mirror stuff and has several separate stories? Okay, I'm really glad that Ask Crackery is here with us. That's another great username. Ask
Crackery?
I love that username. Here's what I have to say. Yes, please. I have been talking for months saying that the Black Mirror approach, or the True Detective approach, should be applied to these 5 seasons of Middle-earth stories. It does not have to be the way Game of Thrones is set up, with everything directly linear in time. What do you say?
I'm not a fan of Black Mirror.
Right.
So
Well, an anthology approach. Okay, it's not the content of Black Mirror.
Right.
We're talking about the approach to completely bottled
I'm
episodes.
just saying, from somebody that
separate.
hasn't like really watched Black Mirror, I was like, I'm not sure where we were getting at.
But
Like an anthology approach in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
totally
imagine
fine.
they're all bottled episodes that are separate from one
Again,
another.
I really, the more we
I'm
dig
down for
into
that.
this, the more I just really think Amazon has bigger plans beyond just what we are aware of.
Hey, Chile.
Somebody just said that
Welcome.
all I need is couch cushions and blankets. Here's a funny thing I'll share with all of you out there that are watching. Chelsea worked a 22-hour shift yesterday, and I'm quite delirious. So I was getting ready to come, and I went, you know what? Nobody can see what I'm wearing besides the top half. So I actually have my pajamas on right now. So this fort that we're building really is going with my vibe right now.
Oh my God. You're like that guy in the commercial who gets the job. He does the job interview on Skype, and he's only dressed in a business suit from the waist up.
Business on top, party on bottom.
And then he kicks his chair away from the desk, and we realize he's only wearing boxer briefs, and he has to go shopping for real business clothes. Shall we take you shopping for some real business clothes now?
I would love
Shall
some
we?
business clothes. Let's go. I could rock a power suit.
We could put you in the pantsuit, the Hillary pantsuit.
Oh my God, right.
No, not the pantsuit.
I'd rather have some like 70s jumpsuits.
A 70s moo-moo.
Huh. So
Oh
if
my
Amazon
gosh.
does do anthology series, Florence says then it will be only 5 seasons. Then it's possible to do regular time skips or backtracking.
Thank you, Florence. That's a great bit of input. I am totally cool with separated stories. It doesn't have to be full continuous timeline. You guys come into the chat room and tell us if you think that you would be agreeable with an anthology series approach, which, just like the Twilight, which is coming back on the air, or any comic books, they actually are stories that are a couple of issues and then they're done, they button it up and they go to the next set of stories. And Black Mirror is an example where each hour is a dedicated separate world, separate story. I'm totally down for this. But if they're doing what I think they're doing, showing us maps of Third Age early and then Third Age late, and then showing us only one bloody map of Second Age, I get a strong feeling that Amazon Prime is cluing us in. If young Aragorn is really not going to happen, then heaven forbid, it's not going to happen in the first season. Maybe it'll happen way, way, way later. Way later. I don't know. What do you think?
So I do want to
Hi, Chile.
read this question because this person has posted it like 6 times.
Welcome, Chile.
It says, he's dying to know if anyone anywhere, any reporter or fan or just some random person has directly asked Amazon if they have the rights to the Silmarillion or Unfinished Tales.
Jason, that is an excellent question. Thank you for asking that question a few times. We see you and we acknowledge you. Nobody has the rights to the Silmarillion. Nobody needs to ask. Correct. That's it. Nobody has asked them.
The reason he
no
keeps
reporter,
asking,
no fan, nobody has asked them because it is common knowledge that they currently, as of today, as of this existing posting online, they do not have the rights to the Silmarillion. Will it happen? Could it possibly happen? It might. Could you pull that zoom out a bit, please? It was a fun joke, but yeah, we could. We could see that in the future.
He says the reason he keeps asking is he cannot see how they can accurately depict Numenor.
Because they have access to unfinished tales, and they have access to what's in the Return of the King, which includes the downfall of Numenor.
The actual answer, and this is on the contract with the Tolkien estate, is that Amazon...
This is the voice. If you're wondering who this disembodied voice is, that's our producer, Justin. There he is. There's his thumbs up.
Amazon has licensed everything to do with Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, including all the appendices and notes and things in the file cabinet that relate to it. Also, the Tolkien estate has said everything else is on the table and available on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
So if the filmmakers, if the storytellers come to the Tolkien estate and say, hey, we want to explore this part of the legendarium. It includes some characters and places that are Silmarillion based, but only mentioned in one quick passing in Lord of the Rings on a case-by-case basis. The Tolkien estate has said they can approve and they may approve extensions of the story of Lord of the Rings. But the short answer is they do not have the rights to Silmarillion, but the Tolkien estate is giving them limited rights on a need-to-know basis.
On a need-to-have basis. Okay, thank you, Justin, for clarifying. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Jason.
Yes.
And also in the YouTube chat, David Albright, why do they have rights to Unfinished Tales? Because they have the rights on a case-by-case basis, because they have little special relationship with the Tolkien estate that they've never had before. This is a different type of business license. And you know what? I must say, it's very new. This is newer and stranger than any other type of business license for a major intellectual property that I've ever seen.
Yes.
So, the proof
But again, the properties,
is in the map.
all
Look
of
on
the
map.
IP stuff is getting so creative in this day and age. Like music, film, book, all the license, because everybody has having to get creative for how do we make money, because the traditional ways don't work. And as a result of it, we're seeing all sorts of insane deals popping up. Mm-hmm. And it's an extremely exciting time and like also really terrifying at the same point. But I'm really excited to see what they do with it. A different Jason in the chat also had a fun idea of what if each season focused on one storyline. Like maybe you start with young Aragorn and then you have a younger Gandalf and then you have a young Gimli. Yep. And like how fun that would be.
Thank you, Jason number 2, for saying that, because I've been saying that all along, that every season could be the dwarf lineage storyline. Then the next season, the elves. And then the next season, the men, the Edain, and the establishment of Gondor and Arnor. And then a 4th season for just the hobbits. And the hobbits migrating and handling their lives through all the other craziness going on around them. I'm all down for that. But
Totally.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. So why not give all of the rights? Well, they already paid $500 million just to have these rights. They would not possibly be able to spit up another $1 billion to have all of the rights without testing the ground to see if it's fertile.
Yeah, I think first...
To see if it's fertile ground.
We've got to get the first season out, and then we'll see what happens from here. But
That's right.
I think the way that the MCU started, that's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that they had this idea. And
yes.
Iron Man was actually an independent film. The first Iron Man was. And Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau, and then when Robert Downey became part of it, just had this thought of like, what if in 10 years we built this universe? And they kind of just like joked around a table of like, oh, that'd be great. But then it became possible. And I think we're looking at that same type of turnaround for here of like maybe Amazon will put their toe into the lake here and then realize what's possible and we can get a whole bunch of content.
That is exactly the idea. If they succeed in the first season, then it won't be quite so random. Then the Tolkien estate would be more agreeable to expanding their access to other stories. So we know for sure by looking at these maps that they have material licensed from Unfinished Tales, because this deals with the arrival of Celeborn and Galadriel, and much of the story of Numenor is retold, and other fascinating details. That is proven by the existence of the map. And they also don't have full access yet to the Silmarillion, but they may have, as far as we know, they might have gone in behind closed doors and said, well, we're going to pick out a couple of characters out of the Akalabeth, which is in the back few pages. Yep. That's the very back few pages of the Silmarillion. Maybe they said, let's license a couple of these characters from, the part at the very end where it's called Of the Rings of Power and the Third Age, which is also the concluding chapter at the end of the Silmarillion. But they don't have the full license for it. Fingers crossed for the ultimate Beren and Luthien story, which I think is a standalone feature film because it is the ultimate story.
And that could even be something that Amazon ends up doing the way that Marvel has TV series that intertwine with films, is that we could have this series and then you could have that standalone film between the new series that's coming out. And I'm so excited about the potentials of what could happen.
So am I. And
also, I have to say that this chat on Facebook has blown up with everybody talking about baby versions of everything we've ever known in Middle-earth. So like baby Schmog and baby Ints when they were twigs, and you guys are giving me life right now.
You guys, you've already got the baby Ent. You've got the baby Treebeard in Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's what baby Groot is. He's a baby Ent. You've already got that. All right? What more could you want? Here's the thing. Let me say this out loud, because people are looking at this, we're going to have our Amazon series in the Second Age, proper. Okay, cool. Let us go forward with that supposition, and then stop and say, where do the Istari come in, the wizards? When would Saruman and Radagast and Gandalf and the other two, I can't quite remember their names, when Alatar and Palando show up, all that stuff is really spelled out in Unfinished Tales, but keep in mind, it happened in the middle of the Third Age. So I'm telling you that they're not going to keep all 5 seasons completely stuck in the Second Age. If they're going to bring in all these other elements of the story that are so dear to us, even the possibility of bringing in the story of the Witch King of Angmar and his assault upon the Northern Kingdoms. And all these Northern Kingdoms, these are the dudes who were the scions of Aragorn. That's his bloodline, right? I could predict all that stuff in the Third Age happening late into the 4th or 5th season of this mega thing. I mean, really, we're not going to stay in the Second Age forever, even though that's where they're telling us now they want to begin. So maybe I'm going to be right in the end, but it won't be young Aragorn as the opening. It'll be the closing of the 5 seasons.
Maybe.
You never know. You never know.
Or they can just jump timelines like Quantum Leap or Doctor Who or something and do whatever the heck they want. I mean, really, the sky's the limit. Let's just, always play with their minds.
Gavin McInnes, has either one of you done the Tolkien Trail in Clitheroe, Lancashire, with the Fury Nam Hong and Joe Whitworth? No, I have not.
I have not either.
I have not, but it sounds fantastic.
It does sound absolutely lovely.
All right, the Tolkien Trail. No, I have not done that, but that sounds really, really, really cool. When we took our cameras, when we were filming for our documentary film, Ringers, Lord of the Fans, we did take our cameras to England. And we went to Oxford. Yes. We interviewed wonderful people. We met...
and I've done a lot of the Oxford stuff standalone from you as well. I was like, so we've both made it to England for various versions, but no, not the trail.
I attended the Oxenmoot, the Tolkien Society's annual gathering, the literature and academic gathering of the Oxenmoot. I've attended and had interviews with Tolkien authors Brian Sibley and Colin Duryea, and now, may he rest in peace, famous fantasy author Terry Pratchett. We've interviewed Terry Pratchett, about Good Omens, which is also coming on Amazon Prime in just a month, believe it or not. But and we went and shot footage of Tolkien's house, the house where he lived, where he wrote The Lord of the Rings. And we got footage of his grave, where both Edith and John Ronald are buried. And it says Luthien and Baron on the tombstones. It's so lovely. It's really lovely. And when they were editing that shot into the film, I told the director, Carlene Cordova, when you come to that, I recommend no editorializing and no voice over from Dominic Monaghan. Let's just have silence and do a really soft cross dissolve, at least one or two cross dissolves on the gravestone and the environment around it. And she looked at me and she said, yes. And that was the only directing input I had on that film, was making sure that there was nothing but the sounds of birds and insects in the sound. There was nothing, no commentary. And Dominic Monaghan, I did not write any script for him. When we show Tolkien's grave, I wanted there to be just cinema silence, what the Japanese would call ma, that moment of inaction or silence in between the moments of action. So it worked. I think it worked well. That's just my opinion. But this whole thing you're talking about, the Tolkien Trail, I've never been on that. It sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, I would actually love more information about it. So if you want to tweet me at UncoolRockstar or Instagram, wherever you are, and send some more information, I'd actually love to know more about that trail.
I would too.
A thought for you, Cliff.
Okay.
What if someone were to build a fully immersive theme park for Middle-earth, where you could have like a barrel ride or, ride or flying on an eagle?
We've done a whole episode on this live stream about just that very thing. I am torn between two lovers, feeling like a fool. I'm very torn on that idea. That wasn't Natalie Imbruglia, but if you want me to sing, I'll sing Natalie Imbruglia. Torn. Anyway, I'm torn because that stands for theonering.net. I'm torn. I'm so torn.
We'll be here all night, folks.
I'm sorry. To tell you the truth, more than half of me cringes at the ugliness and the cheapness and the plastic, all the stuff.
Of the majority of theme parks?
The theme park treatment of other intellectual properties has become shop-worn and strange to me. It has.
Literally, somebody just asked this in the chat, which is why
But of course I would go. I would love it. I mean, I would love to go to a theme park, and I would spend all my money at it, but I would also cringe at it. Well, because obviously it's
Here's
cringy.
my train of thought, though. So, I
don't know.
I love roller coasters. I love theme parks, but no theme park does fully immersive quite like Disney. And Universal is... Universal has...
Yeah.
The Wizarding World in Florida is fantastic. What they did here in Hollywood...
my dad built that, by the way.
...leaves you wanting. I was like...
They don't have enough geographic space.
Exactly. They don't have enough space here in Hollywood. I was like, so if they were to just squeeze something into like Universal Hollywood here for Middle-earth, I'd be furious because it wouldn't be what it could be. Right. Six Flags never really does anything. Like you get in a queue line and it's just poles and it looks like scaffolding and mechanical parts and like you don't feel like you've walked into a world. I was like, Disney isn't going to own this rights to anything, and I don't ever want them to touch it. And I love Disney. That's saying a lot. I was like, so I don't know if I'd want a theme park. It's a really interesting question because I as much as I think a barrel ride would be really fun, flying on an eagle would be really fun.
Yes.
Going maybe a shortcut to mushrooms and like your own little like gardening adventure or something like mischievous hobbit fun. Or you just get to visit the Green Dragon Inn and you get to eat there. It would be epic. It needs to be done well, and I don't know if that exists yet.
Thank you. Well, let's take a look and see what Disney does with the Star Wars intellectual property.
Galaxy's Edge opening May 31st here in Anaheim.
If Galaxy's Edge is a mess and they don't do it well, then we can revisit this conversation about whether a theme park could be in the future. But that's not being licensed, so We're just speculating about someone.
Which we're going to
thinking,
have to
"Wouldn't that be
give
fun?"
Galaxy's Edge a few months because when they're opening, they're only opening half of the park. So we need to wait till the full park's open before we judge.
Yeah, they're doing a soft open on that, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it's going to be an official launch, but they only have one of the rides ready. So the other ride won't be the 28-minute fully immersive ride won't be ready until end of August is what they're hoping.
Right. Famous last words.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see.
All right. The stream is having issues. Thank you. Thanks for telling us that, Rock Rondul. So let's get back to the conversation about licensing. This is, thank you, Jason, for saying, one of the most unprecedented things in the world of licensing a major fantasy intellectual property. It's never been done quite like this before. They do not have the license to make a theme park. We were just being playful and talking about it for a minute. They do not have the license to the Silmarillion. I am so sorry, but I'm going to say it again because it seems to be continually fraught, this conversation, fraught with misinformation. They are bringing in Numenor, yes, but that means they've licensed stuff from the Unfinished Tales and from the back of the Return of the King and the Hobbit. They don't have the license to the Silmarillion yet, but it may be possible. It may come very soon or later. It depends upon the. It really depends upon the success of this series.
Yes.
If the Tolkien estate, which is now look, even the companies that make board games have got new licensing. Okay.
Yep.
That Dark Crystal game, retail price is at $50. The new Lord of the Rings board game, which is coming out from Fantasy Flight Games later this summer in June or July, it is a $100 price point on that board game. And it's a board game that is played with an online tablet. You go to the online screen and it tells you how to lay out the pieces and all the tiles and how it will customize every single game.
Like
when you
almost
play it
every
online.
tabletop game now has an app component to either help you learn how to play or to like add features into the game or it narrates for you.
Yeah.
And
So they've got licensing coming out for everything you can imagine, which means there will be other iterations of video games. There will be other merchandise. The biggest iterations of Middle-earth we have seen lately have been all the Funko Pops, which we've talked about for months and months and months. That is part of the terms of the New Deal. The whole New Deal made with the Tolkien estate is why you have had all the new Funko Pops for about a year now. In fact, I've got the Treebeard one at home, the big one.
Yep.
I love it. I love me some Treebeard. He's my buddy. I mean, after all, my online handle is QuickBeam. I'm one of the Ents. You know, I'm actually using one of those names. So
I love Pete's comment. I don't blame the estate for being on alert because those pinball machines were tacky.
Yeah. They're not relicensing anything that involves video gambling games like they did before.
Oh, but I loved the slot machine.
That brought a big lawsuit against them.
Oh, I really loved the slot machine, though. It was my favorite.
Was it?
It really,
Yeah,
like the little mini games that it had in there, it just made me happy.
Was it fun? Okay,
Yeah.
see, but you know, the gambling was one of the things where the Tolkien estate said, "Screw this! You guys are making all these things that we never agreed to let you make under the original license that New Line Cinema had in the year 2001." Or 2000 when the films came out, right? 2001.
Yep.
So it's a whole different game now. Different licenses, different toys, board games, and video games. And also, Amazon Prime caught up in all of that as well. So now you guys know where that is, okay? I don't blame the estate for being on alert, says Pete, because those pinball machines were very tacky. Yes, sir. David Albright says, the problem is that once you get the merchandising involved, things get crappy fast.
Well, I think
could,
the merchandising it comes down
could.
to who is controlling the issuing of the license for that. If you just say yes to everything, then you're going to get a lot of merch that's like, okay.
Correct. She's 1,000%. You guys listen to her. At least there's someone who makes sense in this insane asylum.
I mean, you have
That's
to.
what Sandy Claus says about Sally. You're my Sally now, okay?
Yep.
I'll be Jack, you be Sally.
It's what's really interesting. I've learned a lot about licensing issues, being somewhat of an influencer in the space and getting sent products lately. That so many companies, especially big companies like Disney, they don't just have a licensing person that says yes to whatever. They have people that are just for T-shirts, just for purses, just for belts, just for literally broken down into specific products. And those people have to relate back to them and say, we're thinking about doing this on the zipper, and they say yes or no. And if you don't have a person being that meticulous, that's where you're going to get the crappy merchandise. So it's about the quality standards.
Well, when I interviewed the people at Electronic Arts, because they were making the RTS strategy game in the world of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, when EA Games sat down for an interview with us at theonering.net, the first thing that they said was, we want to handle our license carefully. When we think of designing a game and the way that the fans are going to react to the game, we are primarily thinking about not screwing up our license, which means these companies pay a lot of money to make belt buckles and badges that go on your lapel.
Yep.
And whatever it is, even if it's a little light up toy that you plug into the wall, and it's a file of Galadriel nightlight, whatever it is, these companies get their license and they praise the powers of Iluvatar that they even got the license.
Yeah.
And they sit around and they start worrying. How do we not screw this up? How do we keep the product good and not mess up our license so that it is prematurely taken away from us? They think this all the time.
Yep.
And I know that the people at Amazon are also thinking the same thing. How do we build out this world and make this show happen without screwing up the $500 million we've already committed to this? So, really, right? That's where it's at.
Absolutely.
They're not going to play fast and loose with Tolkien right out of the gate, but they are giving us a lot of information up front that if we begin in the Second Age, those other 5 maps that I believe now represent all the other 4 seasons, making 5 seasons and 5 maps that we'll get to visit over and over and over again. It proves to me, because they already changed the mistake that they had on the compass points.
Yep.
They changed the mistake because they were listening to us, the fans, who said, well, that's a pretty good looking map, but you screwed it up already, and they changed it within a couple of days. They're paying very close attention to dotting their I's and crossing their T's. I just want you guys to know that.
Do you think they learned from the mistakes that Warner Brothers made with The Hobbit?
We won't know until the first season material shows up.
Yeah.
But the map is proof. The changing of the map is proof that they might have learned from the mistakes of Warner Brothers. Can you give us a recap on the controversy with studio meddling with The Hobbit?
Well, we know from Tauriel, that would be the very lovely and capable Evangeline Lilly, who is amazing in Lost and who is amazing in Ant-Man.
As the Wasp.
And Ant-Man and the Wasp in both films. She actually came back for an interview and said, this is the one thing that they promised that they were not going to do to me.
And then they did it.
They've made a love triangle happen. She originally went into the film upon the agreement that she was not going to be, as a character, stuck into a lame love triangle. And it was part of the terms of hiring her.
Yep.
And then guess what we found out?
Which?
When they came back for reshoots, there was a guy at Warner Brothers who has recently been kicked out amid a horrible, horrible Harvey Weinstein type of a sexual misconduct scandal. He's one of the top brass executives at Warner Brothers who's just been evicted from his position, and all the online geeks are saying good riddance, because this guy was well known for tampering with the DC movies. He tampered with what Zack Snyder was doing. He started making decisions about changing major storylines in the Hobbit trilogy only because he was looking at the bottom line and said, do rewrites and add in a love triangle. So we found out that this guy, what was his name? Was it Steven or Kevin Shujahara? Kevin. Yeah. He got... Ken? Was it Ken? Whatever. He got fired, and guess what? You guys don't deserve to know his name, but just, poo on that. He was the one who dictated we're going to stick in a very unwanted, unnecessary love triangle. And she was stuck in it in reshoots.
Yep. But the thing you're not telling everybody is that he was fired this week. Yesterday. Like, he was fired yesterday from Warner. He didn't get fired back in the Hobbit days, but this guy was just fired yesterday from Warner Brothers.
Or the day before yesterday. Yeah, he was just fired within the past couple of days. Yeah, so...
So, Cliff, we've had several people ask where they can buy your T-shirt.
Where can they get this shirt, Justin? This shirt was a convention exclusive. We had it on sale at Dragon Con, and that was it. If you attended the convention, then you got the convention exclusive. That's how that works. I'm so sorry, everyone. It is not available. It is not for sale.
I like that you guys actually made it an exclusive, though. I was like, so many people are like, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and then 3 months later, it's in every store.
Oh, no, we're very strict on
Yes, no, that's fantastic. I've literally had this conversation with a bunch of like nerdy friends over the weekend about how we get so frustrated. Like, a friend sent an exclusive at a convention that then, like, she didn't really like it, but she liked that it was an exclusive. Yeah. And then later found out that they actually made it a public release and was like, why did I buy that then? Like,
yeah, that's wacky. We know Jeff Bezos is a big Tolkien fan, but we also know that Jeff Bezos has half the money that he had the day before. So yeah,
Would you accept studio meddling from Jeff Bezos? Because you know it's a
would we accept studio meddling from Jeff Bezos? Is the questions.
No, I would not accept any studio meddling, even if the head of the studio is as much of a ringer as we are. The only meddling that should happen is the estate. Only the estate should meddle and say, wait a minute, you're taking it too far.
Justin Timberlake wanted a cameo, and he's a huge Tolkien fan.
If Justin Timberlake wanted a cameo and he was a huge Tolkien fan, which we know he is, this is what Justin is saying off camera.
How distracted were we again at Ed Sheeran showing up as a
Game of
cameo
Thrones?
in Game of Thrones? Don't do it, Justin. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay.
But Justin can act. Have you seen him act in a fantasy though? I've seen him act in like romantic comedies.
That's funny.
What was the baseball one he did?
No, the one where the LA kid gets murdered.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh my gosh, you guys are too funny.
I mean, I've been a fan of JT. I have no problem with JT at all.
I'm a big fan of Justin Timberlake. I would like to interview him, but I don't necessarily want him in Middle Earth distracting me from Middle Earth.
Well, I mean, you could turn him into something where you don't recognize that it's JT. He doesn't have to come out in a Justin Timberlake T-shirt and do a song and dance. Like,
he's got the curly hair like a hot.
The way that let's put Ed Sheeran in and make him sing a song.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, all right, look, okay. If you want Justin Timberlake or Vin Diesel or any of these hard...
Eddie Redmayne, we already decided.
I mean, no, but I mean the celebrities who are just big fantasy nerds who are Tolkien nerds, right?
Yeah.
If you want them to come in just because of the sake of them being Ringer fans, then yeah, let them be background elves or stormtroopers in the background.
Oh, it's 6 o'clock already. We're getting some direction from other OneRing.net staffers that we should be talking about WonderCon because it's coming up and we're in the final moments of the show here.
Yes, we'll definitely talk about WonderCon. We have half an hour to talk about WonderCon. Well, to mention it is to remind you all of the glory and the wonderful geekiness that you can experience at WonderCon because it has not yet become overgrown and overblown like San Diego.
Yes.
So if you want
It's actually my favorite convention.
Yeah, me too. Because it's walkable, breathable, it's functional. You can get in and out all the time.
Yep.
You can see all the people.
You don't have to camp out overnight for a panel.
Yes, that's right. So if you're
You even have a decent chance of getting the exclusives without really having to run first thing in the morning.
She's right. If you're sick and tired of trying to do San Diego Comic-Con and you can't even get tickets and you can never get on the waiting list and nobody knows how much it's going to cost to get a room down in San Diego, then forget all that and go to Anaheim Convention Center instead.
And come hang out with us.
March 29th, 30th, and 31st. Come join us because Fox Searchlight is going to be showing their Tolkien film. They're going to have...
Yep, on Saturday night.
The stars are going to be there doing a panel. We're going to talk to the director, Dome Korakowski, and we, the OneRing.net, are doing a big presentation on Saturday as well.
In room 213, I believe?
213
CD.
CD, as in
Charlie
Daniels.
Yeah.
Well, what were you going to say?
I said Charlie David. Yeah.
The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. Little Charlie Daniels band. Okay, I love you guys. Here's a chat, a live hotline question.
What is this? From the One Ring Net.
Save time after our panel. We have a surprise. Okay. And by the way, hi Troy. It's great to see you in the live chat again, Troy, and Erovandi, and all of our friends. We've got, oh look, there's Durin the 7th, and there's Rak Randul, who I always love having on the show.
WonderCon is in Anaheim, California, for those that were wondering. So Southern California. So
Hey.
right across the street from Disneyland.
And there's Shad. There's my buddy.
Yep.
Hey Shad. Great to see you, my friends. Now from Brennan Marr, the question on the hotline, which is 530-64-FRODO. Will we see Celebrimbor give the elven rings to Círdan, Galadriel, and Gil-galad?
Well, this is exactly what we're hoping for. And as we've been talking about, having Anatar.
I would
and,
guess, yes.
Deceiving the elves into making the rings. Then,
Yes.
if we get to that place where 300 years later we've made the rings, then yes, we would see not only the elves get them, but the dwarves and the men.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
And I would love to see that. I'm really anxious for it.
I want more than anything to have Anatar come into the throne room and go face to face with Gil-galad and him say, "Hey, I've got all kinds of amazing arcane knowledge of ring making. I can help you elves get to a place where you've never ever been before." And Gil-galad will be like, "No." And then, which is what you say to the Avon lady and shut the door. No. I want Sauron to get the Avon lady treatment or the Jehovah's Witness treatment, right? Where they come to your door and you're just like, no. And you shut the door in their face. That's what we want to do. No offense to Avon or to Jehovah's Witnesses, but still, you understand the popular joke I'm going for. I really want to see what happens when the other elves are seduced by Loki. I mean, Anatar.
Loki.
I keep doing that.
Anatar.
I mean, Anatar.
I
mean
Sauron.
Sauron. So I'm all down for that stuff, guys. I'm totally down. But here's another great question on the hotline. The question is, did Amazon say that they have to be in production by the year 2020 or next year, 2021? That's a question for you, Justin. Justin, do they need to be in front of the cameras by 2020 by contract deal, or does it need to be 2021
I think
when Amazon is in front of the cameras? 2020?
Yep.
Okay.
So
then
they
that
have to be shooting next year.
a year and a half, right?
It's next year, 2020.
Yeah, they have a year and a half to start cameras rolling, and that is a bit of a fast track, considering that Game of Thrones was in development for 5 years before going in front of the lens.
Yep.
So that
but
is
it seems like the fact that they're already
track.
teasing us means that they're moving along quite well.
Yeah. What do you think? Are you personally down for Sauron being like the main character?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool.
I think it would be really cool. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week.
That would be really cool.
That Sauron is
it's an earthquake.
kind of barely touched.
Earthquake.
Like, we know who Sauron is, he's a bad guy, but we don't really see him. We don't get to see him in his shape-shiftingness, and we don't get to really experience the Maiar that he is.
Yeah, he's never had a line of dialogue except speaking through the evil voice of the ring.
Yes, exactly.
I see you.
And yeah, I think it would be really exciting. I don't know. I'm ready for it.
I'm
I also
totally
really
down.
liked last week when we were talking about who could play Celebrimbor and some of the other elves, and then we got in a conversation for those that weren't here, and we threw out some amazing names of people, and then we got to Eddie Redmayne, and then the entire chat room blew up, and I've still been thinking about that for a week.
Yeah, that did become quite That was great. And
that was the light bulb moment where everybody finally just was like, I don't think we should even talk about it anymore because now we're just going to be disappointed if Eddie Redmayne is not part of it.
If you're feeling good, Eddie Redmayne, it's because all the Lord of the Rings fans are talking about you behind your back, Eddie. We're all talking to you, Eddie. We want you involved. I think it would be kind of awesome, really, because he's never had any part to play in Middle-earth, but he's such a part of this major fantasy series that we love.
Yep.
Wow.
What about,
Wow.
okay, so a lot of people in the chat, we were still kind of talking about WonderCon. You said you're coming to WonderCon. Is anybody going to cosplay as anything within the realm of Middle-earth?
I am.
Really?
Yep.
What is your cosplay?
Bilbo.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
I'm coming as Bilbo.
You're going to be the tallest Bilbo that ever existed.
But I'm coming in his beautiful patchwork robe.
Yeah.
I'm wearing Bilbo at home. That's
So you're going to wear your PJs and pull it off as cosplay.
I'm gonna
like
wear my most comfortable bathrobe.
Can this be cosplay right now? What am I cosplaying?
Sure, yeah, you can. I like this. You got your Christmas jammies.
I know. I'm wearing Christmas PJs because
Christmas jammies.
it's always Christmas if you're Chelsea.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I would be in need of some brown wig because I got all this going on. See, hey, ladies, I know it's a little bit too sexy to do this right now. I'm a little bit too sexy. But look at all this shiny, bald stuff going on. You know what I need? I need a wig. If I'm going to do Bilbo or any cosplay, I need a wig. Anybody? Got any ideas where I can get a good Bilbo wig?
So basically, if you're showing up to the panel on Saturday, you should bring a wig for Cliff. That's what he's getting at.
Bring me a brown wig.
Yes.
You know what? If Hannah were here, she would totally throw one at me. She's got like a box of them.
Hey, a lot of people do. I've been starting to like get on my Amazon and like mark some wigs because I'm like the only girl that doesn't have any wigs. And I was like,
yeah,
I think I'm ready to play. I had a really bad experience with a blonde wig that I had to wear in a 6-month period to play Hannah Montana, and I just was like, I'm over wigs for a while. But I'm coming back around.
That sounds awful.
Yes.
Okay, if you folks want to get more details about our presence at WonderCon, you can find us already listed on the program guide at the WonderCon main website. You're going to find more details on theonering.net on our actual main page, and more details as we post them on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all those other fun things.
Yep.
What else you got there? Facebook chat is going crazy.
It is going crazy. Somebody, Pipscays, that doesn't surprise me that you've cosplayed as Pippin before. That's appropriate for you. I love it.
Hey, there's Shad.
Also, for WonderCon, I'm not on the OneRing.net panel, but I will attend, and I would love to meet as many of you as possible. I will run relatively quickly out of that panel because I am speaking on a different panel at WonderCon. So if you'd like to see me and my panel, come visit me in room 211. At 6 p.m. on Saturday, and you can be part of my panel.
Okay, wow. Whoa, here's a whole new
hotline going off.
Wow, the hotline's blowing up. Hey, Jen. I love you, Jen. Good to have you back on the show, my friend. Okay. Jen says, going back to discussing the map, I would like to think that the map timeline should be focusing on the more important major events in history that would start at the beginning of the Second Age and close nearer to the end of the Third Age, just prior to the events of The Hobbit. Yes, indeed.
That's literally what I've been hoping for the whole time, is that we end up going through that sort of expansive timeline where, I mean, maybe a season has to move about 300 years every season. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you want to start the story at the very, very beginning of the Second Age, then you're going to end up talking about a lot of post-Balerian War of Wrath stuff. And as you folks know, that is all Silmarillion. They don't have the rights to those stories. So if they're going to do something that is Second Age of Middle-earth, and it's going to be directly relevant to what we know best of all, then I'm telling you now, it's going to begin with the forging of the rings of power.
I really think that's where they're going to start it off with. But I don't think the opening shot is going to be the forging. I think we will see a little Anatar and the deceit that happens as he convinces that these rings need to exist. I don't know how we kick that off to establish it, but I think it could be a fun little like montage to have some sort of backstory of the Maiar that brings us into Anatar.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my! Well, I mean, they're gonna have to do something to introduce the idea of these beings that are angelic powers, because we know Gandalf. Everybody knows Saruman and Gandalf and Radagast, but no one stops to explain, in a Silmarillion sense, that they are angelic demigods from another place called Valinor.
Yes.
No one ever stopped to tell you that, did they?
Yep. But it's one of my favorite little things. Tiffany, my friend Tiffany in the chat, has said, can we start a Twitter thread to get Rami Malek and Eddie Redmayne involved in this series? I'm down. Let's start it. Somebody share it, tag me, I'll retweet it. Let's go.
Okay. If you want to start earlier in the Second Age,
okay,
then the only stuff that you have going on is the men who survived the War of Wrath, who were given the gift of Numenor.
Yep.
They're settling Numenor.
Which, settling Numenor to start the series?
Settling Numenor.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, you could actually get some high drama out of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because at the mountain, Menel Tarma is the name of the mountain peak. At the very top of that island, they built an altar to Ilúvatar. And Ilúvatar is not even the men's deity. He's the elves' deity. That's their spirituality. That's the elves' religion.
Yep.
It's not the religion of men.
Yep.
And yet they were given that gift by the Valar. For all of the help that they gave the elves and the Valar, the men were rewarded in all of their struggles against Morgoth. And that island was also to be a point of spiritual reciprocation with Ilúvatar. And do you know what happened in the end? By the time Sauron comes around to Numenor at the very end of the Second Age, they have corrupted the temple at the top of Menel Tarma, and they're doing human sacrifice, blood and guts, like it's Aztec style, and they're killing human beings in human sacrifice to Morgoth.
If you thought Game of Thrones was vicious, wait.
It gets hard and ugly. It's no longer cute little hobbits sitting around in the garden smoking a pipe and eating muffins. This stuff is ghoulish, really ghoulish. It's like Satan worship in Middle-earth.
Yep.
Well, in Numenor. But then civil war breaks out.
Yes.
So let's talk about that for a quick second. Why wouldn't they just establish the faithful and the unfaithful in Numenor early in the series so that we can ultimately get to that civil war at the end of season 1?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Sounds good. I like that idea. But it
Amazon,
covers,
I really hope you're taking really detailed notes right now.
I think it covers 3,000 years of time.
We could do it.
In 10 episodes?
We could do it.
10 episodes in one season.
Yeah.
And you're going to cross over 3 millennia of time.
Forward 500 years an episode. Make each episode 4 hours. It's great.
Well, now that we've got a live audience here, let's ask our live audience. For Lord of the Rings and Hobbit fans, is it more important for them to take you to places you've never been in this world, or do you want to see more of the familiar, like familiar characters? You know, Elrond. Do you want to see Cate Blanchett come back again? You know she's 7,000 years old. Do you want to see Galadriel come back, or do you want to see all new places and new characters? Let's ask. Nice. Nice. So context is king. We have a vote for going further back in time and showing us more things that we haven't seen
Absolutely.
before. Because it adds...
Get your edumacation
Yeah,
on.
it adds a benefit, a narrative benefit for other characters that you're going to be becoming more familiar with. Well said.
I think
well
you'll
said.
like this comment from Kirsty.
Come on in, guys.
If I said that wrong, I'm sorry.
Oh, hey,
Right.
what's that?
Would be
Christy,
great.
would be great to see Gandalf get the tasks of looking out for the Fellowship and Bilbo with the dwarves, the conversation with the Valar.
I think that would be amazing too.
Do you know what? I don't think we're going to see any of the Valar. The gods and the goddesses in this pantheon only show up in the Silmarillion, and they don't have the rights to that book. Whenever you guys are ready to order, they'll take your order at the bar, by the way, so just so that you know. And welcome to Scum and Villainy, everyone.
Yes, welcome.
A little bit of housekeeping. We are theonering.net. We are hosting again live our Tuesday show for all the ringers
I
out
like
there.
Paul's comment to you.
Paul. Oh, this dude, he's a good friend of mine. I
Yes.
love Paul. I think Paul is a good old friend of mine from Chicago. I've known him for decades. Cliff Broadway should be in the new series for sure. A sage or perhaps an ent.
Mm-hmm.
No, you know what? Thank you, Paul.
I'm with
I
you, Paul.
appreciate that.
I'm with Paul.
Well, you know what? I'd like to narrate something.
Yes, that would be great too. I'd be
Maybe
down
I
for
could-
Clef as a narrator.
I'd like to just narrate even the promos. I would like just to narrate the promos or something. That would be so
Listen, if you're gonna
fun. That would
dream,
be
Cliff,
so-
dream big.
Dream big?
Yes, dream
Okay.
big.
All right. Well, you know
I
what?
just want to do a promo, just dream big.
I want to, but I don't want to set my expectations too crazy. I mean, I'm already
that's
in.
fair.
I'm already an extra in the Return of the King.
Yes.
I'm standing in the background, you know, right there watching Faramir leave the city, you know, with tears in my eyes, because you know, who wants to see David Wenham walk away? Nobody wants that.
I mean-
nobody wants to see David Wenham walk away from you, unless he turns.
But you can be admiring his backside.
The only way you want David Wenham to look at you is if he turns and looks over his shoulder while he's leaving. Gives you that soft look. It gives you that
I'll
soft,
be back, baby.
that over-the-shoulder look that Faramir always gives to Eowyn when I have to stop doing this to myself. Listen. All right, you guys.
Choked on my water there,
You
Cliff.
guys, I love you guys in the chat room. We're getting some great conversations in the chat and on the live hotline and our live audience here with us at Scum and Villainy. But before we go further down into this question about the maps,
Into the dwarf hole.
I want to totally get to this. The beginning of the Second Age, Jen, is a great place to start. But it's also a good place to start in the middle of the Second Age, because that's when Celebrimbor and the elves of Eregion were getting ready to make some magic rings. It is interesting to see the hundreds of years it took to get all those rings made, how they get distributed, and to whom. Because there was a big thing going on when the elves took their 3 rings away.
Yep.
In secret, when they found out that Sauron had made the One Ring,
Yep.
and then they hid their rings so that Sauron would never know they had them and would not be able to touch them or do any horrible perversions against the good works they were creating. So the rings themselves could become the linchpin for this opening season. Instead of young Aragorn, it could be just following the history of the 5 and the 9 and, you know, the 3. Excuse me, that would be 7. There were 7 rings for the Dwarf Lords. Boy, I need to get my head screwed on straight. There were 7 rings for the Dwarf Lords. Boy, no one's going to forgive me for that. Oh, thanks, Brennan.
I'll forgive you.
You're amazing too, Brennan. You're totally amazing. That's funny. My best friend said she was going to come and see the show today, and now she's saying, I'll be there in 10 minutes. We're finished in 10 minutes. Okay. So nice of you to show up, Amelia. I'm going to just embarrass the hell out of her when she comes in the door. Because, you know, she's my best friend. I'm allowed to embarrass her. Okay. If you guys want to get a real low-down, granular, crunchy granola education on all this, get yourself a copy of The Atlas of Middle-earth by Karen Wynne Fonstad. And you will learn so many good things. Take a look at the online map that Amazon Studios has launched, and you'll realize there's not 1 map, there's 5. And I am proposing officially 1 map for all 5 seasons of the new TV series.
1 map to rule them all.
1 map to find them. Join me. Let's finish it. 1 map to bring them all.
And in the darkness, bind them.
Okay.
You and this fan, it's killing
It's getting
me.
hot
I
in
love
here.
it. It's just
more,
you.
The more we
You're-
talk about evil rings,
You're the hotness.
the hotter it gets in here. The evil rings coming to get you. Well, no, seriously. I want to see so much in the Third Age, and I've been talking for months about Third Age, the Witch King of Angmar, and what happened in Garndor and Arnor and all that stuff. And now we realize we're way ahead of ourselves. Like, we might not even see that stuff until third or fourth season. What do you think? I mean, we're way ahead of ourselves.
I mean, we're not really ahead of anything. We have no information. These are all speculations and expectations we're putting out there. I will be stoked for whatever happens because we are getting more of our favorite world.
Yes, we are. We're getting much, much, much more of our favorite world. I'm excited.
And the great thing is if they don't cover the stuff that we're talking about that we think we would love to see, someone else still can.
Yes, indeed. Oh, hey, we've got a call on the hotline.
We've got a call with 7 minutes to go.
Oh my gosh, with 7 minutes left on our show. All right, let's do this. I'm loving this, okay. Hey, you've called the OneRing.net. Torn Tuesday, where are you calling from?
Yeah, hey, Cliff, this is Pete from New York, North Runner, etc.
Hey, Steve from New York. How you doing, brother?
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing? How you doing?
Good, thanks. Hey, Chelsea.
Hi, Steve.
I just had a suggestion, and I thought it was a good one, and I didn't want to leave it for the chat. Have you ever thought of getting Karen Lynn Fonstead in a like a Skype interview or something like that, especially with the new maps?
Yes.
I didn't hear that.
Actually, I think you did ask me if I was, did I ever speak with Karen Wynn Fonstad? And yes, I did, actually. I was one of the very last people to interview her for the OneRing.net before she died. It was published in the book. We did a couple of different books. So there is not an online version of that interview. It's only in print. We made a book that was called The People's Guide to J.R.R. Tolkien, and within those pages, it was published by Cold Spring Press. And you'll find my interview with Karen within those pages. Yes.
I think I have that. I didn't know she passed away, though, man. I'm a little late with my idea of that.
Yes, she did a number of years ago, my friend. And she was very famous for not only doing an atlas of Middle-earth, but also a lot of other fantasy worlds, like Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time. She did an atlas for the Dragon Riders of Pern. Well, she's done a lot of atlases for fantasy worlds, and people just love her work. She's really the best.
Oh, yeah, I don't read the trilogy of The Hobbit anymore unless I have a book after her atlas next to me. It makes it so much more, brings everything alive.
Oh, say that again, brother?
Say that again, Steve. We didn't hear you.
Oh, I just said I never read the trilogy or The Hobbit anymore without having her atlas in Middle-earth.
Oh, yes.
Oh, 100%.
It's a solid reference.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing.
Clearer.
If you guys couldn't hear his voice, he said, I can never read The Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings trilogy without this copy of the Atlas of Middle-earth at your hand. And I agree with you, especially helpful in reading the Silmarillion. I would never be able to understand or get through the Silmarillion without her book. I wouldn't be able to do it. It's true.
Most definitely. I know it's getting late. I don't want to keep it anymore. I'll try next time. I try to go with an up-to-date idea. But I hope they do full Amazon does an episode about the whole history of the Ents from the early Ent lives to the end. That would be awesome.
It would be awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
I would definitely love more of the Ents in general. They
Oh my gosh, yes. I want that. My brother, you have spoken my heart. Thank you for speaking my heart for me, because I'm with you, man. I would like nothing more than to understand the story of how the Ents and the Entwives were separated. I want that story.
Absolutely.
I love it.
That'd be like a 5-tissue episode.
All right, dude.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, Steve. We really appreciate it.
I've met everybody else, Chelsea. I hope to meet you one day. Maybe not, but we'll see. But take care, and
Yeah.
You as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother, for calling. Thank you for that. Wow.
Awesome.
Okay, so that would be our last call of the show. Because
you did get a message from Pipsky on the hotline as well.
It's 6:27, and my meter's going to run out.
Yes.
So yeah.
we want to thank everybody for tuning in for another episode here of Torn Tuesday. We are here every Tuesday right here live in the heart of Hollywood at Scum and Villainy Cantina, your friendly neighborhood geek bar. You should definitely come by and join us on one of our streams. And if you're at home watching anywhere around the world, which I know we had some people in England and South America and whatnot today, you can find us again next week. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, everywhere you can find.
Absolutely. And hey, to our friends in South America, thank you. Chile, thank you very, very much for coming to join us.
And thanks for staying up late in England and watching. And we appreciate all of you guys so much.
We sure do.
We'll see some of you next week at WonderCon. We'll do another episode before that point as well.
Absolutely.
And
And also watch our Twitter zone. Watch the Twitter zone because I'm going to be posting a thread where we discuss exactly the items that we're talking about right now.
Cliff's got some big theories to dig into.
Well, everybody's got theories, and that's what we do best.
Yes.
As long as you know that I'm not entirely willing to give up on the young Aragorn concept. I think that might still be happening, but I think it might be even like 5th season, which means 2000.
Personally, I'm voting for Baby Schmog now.
We might not even see that until the year 2025.
Oh my God, that's so far away.
That is too far away. So we'll see what happens.
My heart
kids.
just broke a little bit.
So good.
If you want to keep in touch before next Tuesday, you can find me anywhere online at Uncool Rockstar. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you find people on social media. Uncool Rockstar, just like it sounds. And you can find Cliff where?
At QuickBeam 2000. That's Q. Did I do that wrong? QuickBeam 2000. QUICKBEAM 2 grand.
In the year 2000.
Year 2000. Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. QuickBeam 2000 on Instagram and Twitter. I'm signing off.
Yeah, and follow the OneRing.net, like, subscribe, follow on all those places.
Else.
You can do those things, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. Thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you real soon.
You guys are super awesome sauce. You are the best co-host. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chelsea is awesome. Thank you to the OneRing.net, and thank you to Scum and Villainy, and to all the hardworking staff, and the wonderful patrons of this well-established Geek Central. We are here for you. Until next time, buenas noches y buena suerte.